Hello, and welcome to our daily devotion where we share this one thing from our Revised Common Lectionary for Thursday, October the 1st. My name is Pam Maston. I'm one of the associate pastors here at First Presbyterian Church of Fort Lauderdale, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, our daughter Sarah is turning 25 years old next week. How can I be that old? And I want to share with you what my husband and I are giving Sarah this year for her birthday. It's really exciting and it's so much fun. It's something we've never done before. Here you go. It's the Atlas of Human Anatomy. It's the 7th edition, and its claim to fame is that it's illustrated by physicians, bringing you clear views of the human body with a clinical perspective. Well, in this book, Sarah will be able to study more than 50 carefully selected images featuring full body views of surface anatomy vessels, lymphatics, and nerves. Now, this is not just for her own enjoyment. Sarah is actually in her second year of medical school, and this year she's going to anatomy lab and brain lab. Yep, Sarah and her classmates are examining the brain and all the organs and systems of the body in their second year of medical school. So it's a very important year for Sarah, and I know as her mother, I know that she's going to love this gift. Well, in our evening psalm, Psalm 26, the psalmist is asking God to examine his brain and his heart. Okay, it's a different kind of examining, but stick with me. Like many of David's psalms, this song was written from a time of great trouble. Here, the psalmist pleads for God to vindicate him, presumably by his enemies. And the request carries with it the implication that David himself was unable to defend himself, or he chose not to. David had confidence, though, that God would answer his prayer and vindicate him because he had faith in God, which he demonstrated by a faithful life. In verse 1, I have walked in my integrity. And therefore, despite his present difficulty, whatever it was, he could say, I will not waver in my faith in God. In verse 2, the psalmist was confident enough in his demonstrated life of faith that he asked God to examine and try him. The request to examine and try him refers mainly to the inward working of a man or woman, the mind and the heart. And the psalmist here is saying, examine my brain and heart, God, and see that my heart is working as it should be, and that my thoughts are pure. So the psalmist knew the value of sustained examination and meditation on the character of God, and he did not claim to be perfect or free from all sin. But he fully recognized the need for God's mercy and God's grace. Friends, this psalm, Psalm 26, is a delightful message for all of us. And this one thing for today is to live with integrity in Christ. Lord, I love you and I need you. I want to become more and more like you. Help me. Search me, God, and know my ways. Test me and try me, O Lord. Examine my heart and my mind. The psalmist writes in verse 8, I love the house where you live. I love the house where you live. Friends, this week, let's open our heart and open our minds and invite God to examine us and to guide us. Friends, let's open our hearts and open our minds. And let's invite God to examine us and guide us. I wonder what God will find in my heart and in my little brain. But that, my friends, is for another devotional. Friends, thank you so much for joining me today. Stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow.